Yeah, really good execution, really good effort. That's kind of what we're after every week, and feel like we have some talented kids. I think everybody kind of saw that, and you never really know as a team, as a coach, as players, what it's going to look like when you get to game one. But happy with what we did last Friday. But my talk with the team is, we're 1-0, nothing more, nothing less. It's time to go again.
I'm glad you brought that up because you do have a lot of weapons on that offensive side of the football. Obviously, your quarterback, Daniel Heitland, played a lot last year, who was somebody who I think took a lot of big steps this offseason. Talk a little bit about his process and where you feel like he's at coming into the season.
Yeah, Daniel had a great offseason without a doubt. He came into last year, planning to kind of be our backup quarterback and play a little bit of receiver and play defense, and kind of got popped into the starting role in week 6 and played the rest of the year. Did an outstanding job for not really having a ton of preparation at quarterback. The biggest difference so far is, one, he's a year older. He knows the offense better, but came in May, at the end of May, with the mindset of, I'm the guy now. So he put a whole lot of time into learning the offense and focusing on playing quarterback. And we have seen that development all summer. It's good to see. He's a special kid, has worked really hard and loves the program.
Yeah, and he's not the only special kid on that offense as well, because Anthony Sutton went nuclear in this matchup, over 200 yards on the ground. Talk a little bit about what dimension that he brings to this offense.
Yeah, Anthony is, a really talented kid as well, and is a guy that we've used kind of all over the place the last few years. He has been, our Z motion receiver the last couple of years, has played running back quite a bit. So, a guy that we were pretty comfortable was a really good football player. And it's fun to see him slide in and get to be the guy at running back. He has, again, worked really hard and deserves it. And a lot of confidence in Anthony.
Off the stat sheet, but the defense also pitched a shutout, pulled a couple of turnovers out of their bag. What do you think?
A lot of new faces on the defensive side, some young guys that had never played on Friday night until last week, kids, you know, guys that didn't really know what Friday night felt like yet, and they kind of blocked that out and just went.
Obviously, a little bit of a struggle for them last week. They fell 33-0 to Lucasville Valley. Obviously, I know you know this better than anybody that your guys.
Yeah, it's easy because we approach every week the same. We, of course, watch the opponent on tape, Paint Valley, but no matter who we're playing, we truly focus on us. It's about executing. It's about doing our job, no matter who we play on Friday night. So it's these kids are used to that. We of course, try to figure out what schemes they're going to play and set up our game plan to that. But it's about us doing our job. So, we care about the opponent. We watch them. We try to figure out what we think they're going to do. But ultimately, most of the message all week is let's get better every day and let's go do our job on Friday night.
And as you look at this team over the course of the season, just how good do you feel like this Athens Bulldogs squad?
Haven't even thought about. I want to be good tonight. That is it. We had a great week of practice. We've had some young kids start to figure out kind of what varsity. So we're making progress as far as that goes. What varsity football feels like. So, who knows what's going to happen? Anything else when you get a chance to play? That's got to be number one.
Last thing I've got for you, Coach, you mentioned how you do treat most game weeks the same, right? You have the same mode of preparation. You guys operate on a very routine basis on every single week. What are some of the biggest keys that you hone into your guys on in those week-to-week preparations as you look ahead to every single game day? Obviously different.
Scheme that we run against anything, some blocking assignments change. Some coverage stuff changes depending on what the opponent does. Is effort. We have to have great effort from, our starting group, our scout team group. We are lucky afternoon in practice, which is, a lot easier to do when you have seniors that understand how important they are. So, the little stuff, I guess, is what we focus on every day. Let's try to be perfect on every play. That's never going to happen, but that's what we're striving for. And we have a group of kids that kind of believe in that right now.
Absolutely. And I think that this team is looking to shaping up real good, and they're a real threat to win every single game they play. Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck tonight.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We can grow confidently. Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniowasouls.com to donate today.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, community. This simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.
At Slarks Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
Your special project, trust the...
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
anything that occurred in this rivalry, and I'm excited to see it going back on yet again. I think that actually helps Dalton Jarrell in his settling in as the Gallia Academy head coach in year one to be renewing this rivalry. I think there's a lot of excitement and energy around the Gallia Academy's Blue Devil fans to get it going, and we got 2 stations. You'll be able to listen to that one on this evening, and it's a good time for football fans in Southern Ohio.
It really is, and I'm super excited to see what the rivalry is going to mean. I think you'll be able to speak to that a little bit more as well when you talk about like the way that the rivalry is going to look in 2025 and then beyond. Just what does it mean to the communities of both Jackson and Gallia to have a rivalry of this capacity come back after so long? You saw it last week with this team. The Athens Bulldogs played Logan after being away for a year.
Yeah, it's bragging rights. It's everything that a rivalry in football should be in this area. I think back to the year that we lost to Gallia Academy on a Friday night, turned around the Saturday at the Apple Festival. I had a friend telling a Gallia Academy kid to take his shirt off because he was so upset. So again, silliness, but also the things that you remember throughout this rivalry over the years. And it's bragging rights for an entire season. Both teams, both schools will utilize it as such, especially that Gallia Academy student section when they're alive and well. The G-Force, they used to call it. I would love to see that be back in all of its grandeur that it used to be. So an exciting time for Blue Devils fans, an exciting time for Ironman fans, and if you're a casual fan of Southern Ohio football, exciting as well.
It's a big game, and it will be
Always
on.
will be.
It is, and it's on 2 of our stations right now, WKOV and WBYG. As we continue to roll along, and it's going to be big. We've got it on 2 of our biggest level stations. We've got a ton of huge games coming up over the course of the evening tonight as we roll along. Let's move over to WXIC. Waverly taking on Zane Trace. 2 of the more interesting results in the 7-4-0 that came out last Friday, Waverly, you know, it was just a bit of a struggle for them against a Miami Trace team whose identity is really just built on running the football, and that they did. Over 450 yards on the ground for the Panthers. Julian Baker, 347 of those yards by himself, and 4 touchdowns for him, a guy that has a very bright future for Miami Trace. But if you're Waverly, you got to bounce back. Yeah. And it doesn't get any easier this week against the Zane Trace team that just established their will against Logan Elm last week.
Yeah, and you're going to see more of the same for the Waverly Tigers. You're going to see a heavy dose of the run game tonight out in Kingston. And, you know, it's not necessarily what the doctor ordered for Waverly Tigers fans, but they're going to have an opportunity to bounce back from a tough loss, an emotional loss, right? Last week, a week ago in Tiger Town, as the community remembered Drez Bolin Hitchens and the impact that he had on that Tigers squad. And we're going to see what the Tigers have the opportunity to get done after the emotions have settled in a little bit. And, you know, week 2 is hopefully a different night of emotions and feelings and hopefully success for the Tigers, especially when it comes to handling the run game.
Yeah, and I think that they will. And I think it'll be a big deal for them, again, just to kind of get in the routine a little bit, I think. And that'll be what helps them kind of move through everything with that. It's you know, obviously still a very tough situation. Intriguing games that I think, we mentioned the Gallia Academy. We're going to be there next week. They've got back-to-back big rivalry games. They've got, they got Point Pleasant next week. We're taking a trip across the border. Our first ever show outside of the state of Ohio will be in Point Pleasant for the Gallia Point game, the Battle for the Bridge, one of the best trophies in the state, really in the country, I think, when it comes to rivalries. That's going to be a big game. And then there's a lot of big games. Liberty Christian Academy takes on Ironton. Let's talk a little bit about this game now. Ironton cruised last week, 63-0. Some interesting tidbits about this Ironton performance against Shelby Valley. You know, a team that they kind of had to find a little bit late in the cycle. They were looking for a week 1 game for a long time. Right. They actually, even on Twitter, lobbed an offer to Marion Local. Said, hey, you guys want to play? Didn't quite work out. So they end up going across the border to Shelby Valley and easily dispatched Shelby Valley. The Eagles, I believe, 63-0. Only had 233 total yards of offense. They started 8 of the 9 drives that they scored on in Shelby Valley territory. Wow. They allowed just 17 total yards. They allowed -3 rushing yards. Do all that much. Only threw 5 passes, completed 3 of them. Had 2 of those passes go for touchdowns. he had, again, just made things easy for him. Braden Baker had an interception and a touchdown of his own. Couple of new faces as well contributed for the Tigers. Again, when you put up as many points as he did, you're going to get some opportunities. How about some guys to keep an eye on? Easton Caudill is a name to remember in that backfield. Zane Williams didn't play all that much. They didn't need him. He didn't play all that much. But Zane Caudill and Kylan Grace, those are two names that you're going to see a lot for the Tigers this year in more prominent roles with guys that left the program. So we're going to have to see how they shape up. Let's talk about the team that they're playing this weekend, because things get very, very interesting with the team that they're playing. They're playing against a team by the name of Liberty Christian Academy. Obviously, nobody here has ever heard of that team. Well, here's the quick 2-minute presser on them. They went unbeaten last year. Also won a state championship in the state of Virginia, unbeaten 14-0. They won the Class 3 state championship, which I'm not 100% sure how many classes Virginia has, but I believe it's the second to smallest region. So about the same size here between Ironton and Liberty Christian. But they are replacing one of the best running backs in not just the state, but the country. Last year, they had a kid by the name of Gideon David. He had 2,361 rushing yards, which was 26th in the entire nation in high school. He is now at Clemson playing for the Tigers, playing for Dabo Sweeney. He's got now the Christians' first game where they picked up a easy victory similar to Ironton. So a very, very, very
Christian here, and we talk about the offenses. And there's a lot of names to go around on that side of the ball, but you also talked, Ethan, about that stingy Ironton Fighting Tigers defense. And one of the things that you mentioned is they did hold their opponent last week to negative yards in the ground game, which just tells me that the edge that we were talking about, that Ironton Fighting Tigers squad having, that chip on the shoulder of we're not happy with the success that we had in 2024. We want to replicate it and maybe even outdo it in 2025 if the opportunity presents itself. They're hungry for it. They're ready for it. And I think this is a great test for the Fighting Tigers to see where they stand. I think it's a, I don't know what playoff point, so that part of it remains to be seen, I guess. But it's a great opportunity to test your team, and we'll see what the Ironton Fighting Tigers are going to do tonight, but or tomorrow night, I should say.
It's a very interesting tomorrow with the Tank. Some big time schools. The Gridiron Classic down at the Tank. Look, if you're not busy tomorrow and you're not a college football nut, if you're a high school football fan, obviously the Buckeyes are in action tomorrow. Lots of big college football games on. But if you're trying to get in some high school, maybe you got a screen, right? We all have these things. We all have these supercomputers that we hold in our hands. If you want to maybe watch Ohio State, Texas down at the Tank while Moeller is playing, why not? Yeah. Moeller's in town. Bishop Watterson is in town. They're the reigning Division III state champion. They're coming to town. So Ironton is hosting some big-time Ohio schools. They're all playing against out-of-state opponents. I believe a number of the schools they're playing are actually state champions from opposite states. Ironton Fighting Tigers, as they try to go 2-0. Remember, their only loss last year was to a team that wasn't even from this country. They lost to a team in Canada. So they'll try and get back to it tomorrow. Let's talk a little bit about Athens County here, since we are in Athens. Couple of games going on around the area for some of our Athens County schools. Quickly, Nelsonville York is at Logan. They're looking for a little bit of revenge after last year. Logan shut them out 19-0 at Boston Field in 2024. I think that the Buckeyes are going to have revenge on their mind this season. They got the running game going last week against Trimble. 269 yards and 4 touchdowns combined from a bevy of contributors, including quarterback Cameron Sullivan. Austin Gautier, the running back, had 21 carries, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick 6 as well to cap off what was a
ground attack was something else behind Gideon. But also I want to talk about the bigs up front, because we saw that Nelsonville York offensive line just wear on the Trimble Tomcats a week ago. And we saw Nelsonville just continue to lean on that defensive line of Trimble and lean on them. Trimble's bodies just couldn't keep up. Logan, a little bigger roster, a little bit more depth at that position. So we'll see how the Chieftains fare against the Buckeyes, coming off of a very physical game a week ago. But Logan had a tough one themselves. Against the Bulldogs.
Here, right behind us.
Right behind us here.
Bulldogs put the hurt on.
They did, and we're going to, I think that's going to be a great contest. And I think you're right, though. I think the Buckeyes have a little extra to say tonight.
Yeah, and I actually mentioned that to Rusty a couple weeks ago when I was talking to him in the preseason. He said, they want him. They want
Yeah,
to, right? They, the
absolutely.
first couple games of the year, you want to settle in, but the Buckeyes would love nothing more than to start their season off with a 2-0 start. We do have a little bit of extra time now to talk a bit because we're working through some tech issues, through some of our breaks early. Look, it means more time that we can talk to y'all without hopefully bursting any eardrums. We apologize for some of those audio issues that we had, but we are back up, and we did figure it out. It was a little crazy, but we got it going, and that's the important thing as, again, we get prepared for a second football Friday night of the year. Let's continue in Athens County quick. Bern Union at Trimble. We'll do this one quickly. The Tomcats, tough loss last week against that aforementioned Nelsonville York squad, but they take on a Bern Union squad that they beat 46-13 last year. Bern Union is 1-0 on the year after getting a big win last week. The Tomcats are favored at home, but they cannot be overlooking this Rockets squad.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. And right now, the Trimble Tomcats can't be overlooking anybody. Again, you're coming out of the gate 0-1. Necessarily is designed to bounce back this year. Last year, you were able to rely on Brady Jasek and the athleticism that's up in that backfield to try to get something going. And Bern Union is an opportunity to do it here tonight for the Tomcats.
And they're at home once again as well. TJ Carper did not give himself any favors early in this season.
Yeah.
They start their season off with a couple of juggernauts in the southern region of the state. They took on Bloom Carroll last week, gave him a good effort, gave him a great game, but ended up falling just short 20-7. And now they take on a team that I expect to be right in the mix for a state championship later on this year in the London Red Raiders. This is a London team that consistently, year after year, makes playoff runs, shatters dreams. They are, again, what I like to call just a stomper of a football team, because they could very easily, when a gear clicks and that shift goes into gear, they could turn on a gear that there aren't many teams in Southeast Ohio that can match it.
Yeah, there's not, and we saw that last year from the Raiders as they averaged close to 50 points on the offensive side of the football just a year ago. And you're right, TJ Carper has not done himself any favors, and will he ever? I mean, let's be honest. He's always going to schedule up. He's always going to push you in the weight room. He's always going to push you on the field, and that's just what he is. He's a high standard guy. He's a culture guy, and he gets it. He gets it, and I think Cavaliers fans and Cavaliers faithful, if you don't respect that yet, you will as the season and his tenure goes on as the helm of the Cavalier football squad. And I'm excited to see what Coach Carper does, kind of flying in under the radar tonight in London. We'll see what this Cavalier squad's capable of. But how about the Cavs last week on the defensive side of the ball? Really doing a good job of, keeping themselves in that game against Bloom Carroll. I know Bloom Carroll lost a lot a year ago, but I'm really excited to see what the Cavaliers can do against such a high-powered squad in London. Great test for the Cavaliers early in the year.
Yeah, it is a huge test for Chillicothe as they try to, again, sharpen their iron before they get into FAC play. We'll do one or two more games here before we get to the nitty-gritty of a couple more of the big ones, and then we'll, of course, get into our picks. We did mention Athens County Alexanders at the least. I think it's a big opportunity for Corey Bean to get his first win as head coach of the Spartans. But let's head now briefly out to a game that I think a lot of people circled this week. It's going to be over on 100.9 WXIZ. The Huntington Huntsmen are out in Eastern Pike to take on the Beaver Eastern Eagles. And a lot of people were circling this game because I think a lot of people were very impressed by what they saw by the Huntsmen last week. And Eastern had some mistakes, right? Couple of turnovers, some mistakes from Manley and company, especially on the offensive side of the football, that I think Coach Scott Tomlinson's going to want to have cleaned up if they want to get a victory this week.
Yeah, the bad thing about shooting yourselves in the foot is you shot yourselves in the foot. The good thing about it is nobody's problem but your own. And I'd say Scott Tomlinson and company cleaned up a lot of those mistakes. I mentioned last week on the postgame show, Ethan, that Daniel Stewart would be puffing his chest out walking around the building all week. He did, as the defensive coordinator, and his team allowed just 6 points last week to South Point. And, and I also think that was a testament as well, because when you're starting your back against the wall, when you got 5 red zone drives that stall, you're starting deep in the other team's territory, but that can put your back against the wall in time of possession, and that wears on you, especially being a Division VII school, smaller squad. I'm excited to see how they fare against the Huntington squad that came out a week ago. And when I tell you that Huntington just run after run after run. They just racked up half 100 against the Astros like it was nothing in the run game. They're going to be much more tested tonight in Beaver against a much stingier squad in the trenches on both sides of the football. Should be a fun night of football in Beaver.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to get, again, a big measuring stick game. Really, both of these squads. Again, Beaver Eastern looking to try and, again, establish themselves as a powerhouse in Region 28, but Huntington looking to put in early stations tonight. It's over on YPC, which is the home of the Wellston Rockets, and 100.1 WZXQ, which is the home of the Piketon Red Streaks. Those two schools going head-to-head tonight. Last year, this game was phenomenal. Wellston came out on top, 34-27, but you can't really talk about Piketon football without talking about the last name Gullion. We've discussed that last week. Luke is back, and Luke played really well last week. Listen to this stat line: 13-22 for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns. Did have 2 interceptions, so want to clean that up this week. But I think he made up for the mistakes he made through the air with his contributions on the ground. Also had 14 carries for 87 yards and 2 scores. So 5 total touchdowns for Luke Gullion in that victory over Northwest. Trevin Shanks was his top receiving target, 4 receptions for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Piketon head coach Tyler Gullion said after the game, quote, "It wouldn't do us much good to come here and win 42-0. It was a good test for us. The offensive line did a good job of adjusting, and Luke Gullion did a good job of controlling the offense, and Trevin Shanks made some big plays at key times. I'm proud of our kids for stepping up. We're happy to get off to a good start." And Piketon, trying to not be that odd team out in the postseason this year, did get off to a big, good start.
Yeah, they did, and they were the odd team out in Week 1, having played on Thursday night against the Mohawks. And like you said, Gullion, the Piketon Red Streaks are going to go as Gullion goes at the quarterback position. 5 total touchdowns a week ago. I look for them to rely on him week in and week out. They're going to have an opportunity to do it tonight against Wellston that isn't quite as stingy or isn't quite as, I wouldn't say feisty as they were a year ago on the defensive side of the ball, but they've got a kid on the outside right now, Carmine Crabtree.
Remember the name.
Did some special things a week ago in a rivalry game against the Oak Hill Oaks, racking up 3 touchdowns, including that third quarter touchdown that really broke that game open on the skinny post. Just an electric job a week ago. We'll see how Wellston fares in this one, but the Red Streaks seem to be built a little bit differently than they were a year ago, rather. Even.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing and a big theme is if Piketon can be that dynamic offensively. Again, we talked a lot about it last week on Friday night about how dynamic the SVC has the potential to be. Piketon being a part of that equation could be huge. Again, he is listed at 6'4" tall. That is a weapon in the TVC. One little quick bit of breaking news. This is coming out of Federal Hocking, the big game. I didn't mention that game. It's over on Pure Rock 105 WXTQ. This is breaking literally today. It is a big piece of the news for Federal Hocking. Quarterback Brody Rutter is out tonight with an ankle injury. That is all that we know as of now, but Brody Rutter is out for the Lancers. We don't know who they will replace him with at quarterback, but that is the big voices of the Bulldogs. Matt Frazee, he's going to join us live on the program to break down this matchup between Athens and Paint Valley. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniowasouls.com to donate today.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
Welcome back to Football Friday Kickoff. We're about halfway through the program here on this gorgeous Friday evening here in Athens. And that gives me a good update and a good reminder to give you our weather report for tonight, which is presented by Hocking College. It is a beautiful evening across the 740. Currently here in the Plains at beautiful Joe Burrow Stadium. It is 73 degrees, slightly cloudy, couple of clouds parting through the sky. Feels like about 75, some slight wind gusts, but it really is a gorgeous day here in Athens. And the man who will bring you the coverage of the Bulldogs all season long and tonight on WATH all season long is Matt Frazee, and he here is live with me on Football Friday Kickoff. Matt, it really is beautiful out today, isn't it?
It doesn't get a whole lot better. It's one of those things, these early August games, you just don't know what you're going to get. You get a mixed bag of weather, which is kind of typical for this area in general, but a week ago it was, pushing 90 degrees and warm, and games that, it's helpful to avoid a lot of those early season cramping issues and, kids getting tired and kids getting sick, and it just lends itself to a much better evening of football.
It should, and I expect the Bulldogs to, while it might be a little bit cooler on the field, to try and continue that red-hot vein of offense that they've been in throughout this season. Let's talk about that offense that looked so good last week against Logan, and let's start with Daniel Heitland at the quarterback position now. He's been rolling now. He's got the hold of the offense, and this team comes and goes with Daniel Heitland at the quarterback spot.
Sure does. Kind of got forced into a role he wasn't maybe completely ready for, their midseason last year, but for taking over that role this season. And he couldn't have played a whole lot better last week.
Yeah.
8 weeks were called, and that's okay. You didn't have to take a whole lot of deep shots, and the couple that they did take hit for a touchdown. So about as good of a start as you could hope for Daniel Heitland.
And Daniel Heitland's life is made a whole lot easier when you have the live wire in the backfield known as Anthony Sutton. 232 yards last week on just 17 carries. That averages to about 13.6 per carry. He also had 3 scores on the ground. I mean, this guy is just dynamite.
He is. I tell you, he's been one of the fastest kids in all of Southeast Ohio for the last few years, and he's put on a little bit more muscle. He's got a little bit more. I don't want to say he's more elusive because he's not, but he stops and goes as fast as any player that you'll see in the area. His ability to get back to full speed from a dead stop is something you don't see very often. It's pretty rare. And then he had the benefit of having some great blocking up front last week because the line did a tremendous job of giving him just a little crease here and there, and he made the most of it when it happened.
Yeah, and he is a real dominant that can make moves happen. And that also, again, we just talked about it with Sutton. It makes Daniel Heitland's life a breeze because when he's got the amount of talent that he's got around him as well as an offensive line that can block for him, it really makes this offense very tough to stop.
Yeah, I talked to some of the coaches earlier in the off season, and they were lines we've had in several years, and that's saying something because we've had some pretty good ones, and they're ranking this one right up there with some of the best in school history potentially, and that kind of played out last week. For the first time in a long time, we weren't the undersized squad that we've been up front against a lot of teams. Last week we matched up very well size-wise with Logan and got a very good push all night long. And as you said, when you can get good pass blocking and he has time to stand back and make good decisions, he can be safe with the ball. He can be aggressive with the ball. It gives him the opportunity to take whatever play is there for him. And that's a luxury a lot of teams don't have. And get him in a little bit of trouble. He throws the ball very well on the run. He's able to shake himself out of there and make some
probably take some snaps as a receiver maybe, and then maybe play some defense, and now he is the head man, the starting quarterback, and it makes his life easy, not only when he plays so well offensively and his team plays so well offensively, but it really helps when your defense pitches a shutout on the other side. What were some of the good things that you saw from the Athens defense last week?
I tell you what, the biggest thing I would say is early in the season, you don't have a whole lot of full contact throughout your summer programs anymore at the high school level. It's just one of those things that's kind of been phased out over time. So you don't get a lot of live tackling. So until you get to those first scrimmage or two of the season, you don't really tackle anybody. You tackle air, you tackle tires, you tackle all kinds of things that aren't people. And they did a very nice job last week of getting to the football and when they got there of making tackles. We didn't have a whole lot of broken tackles. That's why we didn't have a whole lot of busted plays for big yards. We had one scramble for about 22 yards, but beyond that, they were pretty clean on the night of if it's a 3-yard gain, keeping it to a 3-yard gain, and a lot has to be said for that when you're not missing tackles, and especially when you're able to get multiple players to the football. It makes tackling a little easier, and they certainly did that last week. That was probably the thing that stood out the most, is the tackling was just really
the game. Let's talk a little bit about Paint Valley. The opponent tonight, it's a new opponent for Athens. Have never faced off against one another. It's a little home and home. They'll head out to Bainbridge next year. Also, this game is going to be a really interesting one because Preston Faber is a returning quarterback, but pretty much everything else about Paint Valley is new. New head coach, new weapons, and it kind of showed last week. Their rushing attack was completely stymied by Lucasville Valley in a 33-0 win for the Indians. And again, it kind of feels like a team that might be rebuilding a little bit in 2025. What can Athens do to maybe exploit Paint Valley?
That's a good question. It's a kind of a very similar situation to Logan a week ago. There's just so many variables that are unknown with the new coaching staff, with the new players that they're putting on the field. Last year's tape doesn't do you a whole lot of good. There's just not a whole lot of apples to apples comparisons. So you've really got a one game tape to just kind of try to figure everything out from. And I'm sure they didn't show everything they had a week ago. I'm sure they'll have a wrinkle or two extra this week that's been put in as you kind of build upon your playbook throughout the season. So I guess the easiest thing to say is we'll all have to find out at the same time, because it's really difficult to know what to expect tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see what does end up happening in this matchup. Last thing for you before I let you get back to your prep for tonight's matchup. Athens victory tonight. What are the keys and how do they get it done?
I think it's a lot of the same thing as a week ago. Try to play as clean a football as you can, limit the penalties, avoid turnovers, and it's the key to winning pretty much any football game. And that'll be the key here again tonight. The last thing you want to do is, commit the silly penalties and you cause yourself to kill drives when that's unnecessary. So again, just a lot like last week. Try to play as clean as possible. If we can keep the scoring average up, that'd be pretty nice. But you can't expect to score every drive. If you do get down for the first time this year, you see how you kind of rally and if they respond if they do get scored upon here. So, but yeah, I think it's a lot of rinse, wall, and repeat.
Yeah. All right. Well, Matt, we appreciate you coming on and giving us a little preview for the big matchup coming up tonight between Paint Valley and Athens. You can listen, if you're on it, you can listen on 97.3 WATH, the home of Athens Bulldog football all season long. We'll step aside here on Football Friday Kickoff. Got a couple more matchups to preview when we come back, and then we will get into our game picks. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dan Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dan Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We can grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
Welcome back to Football Friday Kickoff. We're into the 6 o'clock hour, and that means we are getting closer and closer to kickoff around the 7:40. This game right here in Athens is going to get started at about 7:30, but there are games all around that are just about an hour away from kicking off at 7 p.m. Couple more quick previews before we get to our picks. Let's start off with Archbishop McNichols taking on Wheelersburg. This game is on 107.5 W Triple Z, and it might just be the biggest game in our area this weekend.
Yeah, very well may be. And, when it comes pick time, I mean, flip a coin in this one. What a contest this is going to be. The Wheelersburg Pirates look like they're coming in ready for, like you said, Ethan, with a chip on their shoulder, ready to contend for not only a region, but I think you said the goal was state championship or bust, huh?
Yeah.
It seems to be the play down there at Ed Miller Stadium this evening, and that's going to be the feel once again tonight as the Rockets come to town. The Rockets coming off a big win a week ago over Turpin, 34-28, I believe was the final score of that one. And they're going to be loaded. They're going to have firepower. How can the 15 seniors that help round out that Wheelersburg Pirates squad, what kind of impact can they have on this game?
Yep.
We'll see tonight, but I think it starts with that leadership.
Yeah, they lost 14 seniors from last year, and I look at three big guys for them that are going to be that are seniors on this year's squad that are going to contribute. We'll have to start off with the quarterback position. Braylon Rucker is back. He is somebody that is super talented, not just with his arm, but with his legs as well. Powerful runner, and he's not the only powerful runner in that backfield because Elijah Brown is just a human hit stick on both sides of the football. He can run, and he can bowl guys over with the football. One of the best cornerbacks in our coverage area in Kenyon Evans. He is somebody who can lock down your top receiver any given week. And Archbishop McNichols has kind of mixed it up a little bit when they've attacked Wheelersburg in the past. They tend to mix in both some run and the pass, but last year it was all Rockets. They won it 34-3 in that matchup, and I know that is paying in the mind of a lot of this Wheelersburg squad that got the victory last year.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I look for this one to be much closer this season. I think that the Pirates are far better off to contend and hold their own this year than they were last year against the Rockets. But I'm excited for what this game's going to be. And I'll tell you another game to keep in mind. If it does come down to the wire, Cooper Heimbach, the kicker that just a week ago set the record in Wheelersburg with a 51-yard boot for a field goal, and then broke his own record.
Broke his own record
53-yard
minutes
attempt.
later.
It's crazy. So that's
Weapon.
a nice asset to have at your disposal in these tight contests, and Wheelersburg will be in a few, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, that is an absolute weapon. By the way, Archbishop McNichols loves to come next couple weeks, the school from the Cincinnati area. Let's see. I think we got to do one or two more. I do think we have to talk about this game, the battle for Portsmouth. Portsmouth taking on Portsmouth West. Another couple of schools that had very contrasting week number ones. Portsmouth fell flat on their face a little bit against Unioto, 42-0 domination for the Sherman Tanks. And Portsmouth West, it was a battle against Fairland, but they were able to get it done, fend off a late comeback from the Dragons, 30-27. Anthony Bishop was stellar, 20 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown. But that number's skewed a little bit because one run had a lot of over 50% of those yards, 96-yard touchdown run, 11 yards and 3 scores. So he could toss the ball around the place a little bit. Also keep an eye on defensive lineman Tilton Rapp. He had 3 sacks last week for the Senators.
Yeah, you mentioned two big names on the offensive side of the ball, and that is Brody Hall and Anthony Bishop. Between the two of them a week ago, they racked up 412 yards.
Wow.
Just those two alone. Let's take a look right down the road, though. I don't think this is a recipe for success for the Portsmouth Trojans. I think they've got their work cut out for them heading into the Rock tonight in West. I think the Senators are. I think they're coming off of a year where they did some good things. Season didn't end the way they wanted it to. I think it's SOC title or bust for the Senators, and it's just another step along the way tonight.
It is, and I think the big key for Portsmouth today is I think you need to get Marquez Locklear settled and into the ball game. Last week, again, it wasn't really Marquez's trying to establish the run a little bit, try and get Fernando Pohez going, which they could not really do last week, and really just try and establish that run because it all starts with that. If they can get the run going, it does breed potential success for that Portsmouth offense. But Portsmouth West defense, which generated a ton of pressure last week against Fairland, is going to try and have a say in that as well.
Yeah, they are, and that's really what it was a week ago. The struggle of maintaining the poise in the pocket, the pressure that came with that Uniogo Sherman's defense. They were tenacious. It was a very aggressive defense we had the chance to see a week ago in Portsmouth. But again, the Portsmouth West Senators are just as tenacious on the other side of the ball. The Portsmouth Trojans may see a little the battle for Portsmouth. The Senators defending the rock. They play tough at home. It doesn't matter who it is, but it goes up about 3 or 4 notches when the Portsmouth Trojans come to town.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. Home opener as well for the Senators as they take on the Trojans. Let's get in and let's start our game picks. We've got about 25 or so minutes left. We do got to sneak in a couple breaks in between, so we'll just get things going. First off, last week, 68.6%. Not bad, not terrible, but could be better in the future. What about you?
Well, that's what week 2 is on the sheet. So
it is. Yeah, we're looking for 0.
Look at perfect tonight.
I mean, there have been. We've seen again. Your predecessor Max Brunke had a week where he went 34-1. That continues to be the standard. I will see Maxton tomorrow, and he will be glad he was mentioned on the show this week. We'll start off with a game that we actually didn't even know was happening until today. Manchester is at Green. There was some late schedule shuffling that this matchup came to be, but the Greyhounds are taking on the Bobcats.
Yeah, I actually like Manchester, too. Too many question marks in Green and not enough time to prepare for Manchester. I think they got it done 12-6 a week ago, did the Greyhounds. So I like the Greyhounds to get it done on the road.
Yeah, Green giving up 58 points to Federal Hockey and giving up a number of those points on the offensive side of the football. Does not bode well for them, in my opinion. I think Manchester gets it done tonight. Let's go to the Twin State League, where the league actually went 0-3 last week. Point Pleasant does get started. We'll get to them in just a second, but we'll start off with Marietta, who are in West
Monarchs. Get it done over the Tigers tonight.
We're going to have our first split. I think Marietta is going to bounce back. I feel like, again, I talk about athletes. I think they'll get it done this week against John Marshall. Fort Fry had a tough one last week against Bartlesville. Does not get any easier this week against one of the best teams in Region 19 in West Muskingum.
Yeah, and I actually like West Muskingum to get it done in this game. Too tough of a bounce back after Barnesville for Fort Fry.
Yeah, I like West Musk as well.
I like Morgan at home to get it done after a tough week 1. Give me Morgan.
Yeah, I am also going to go with the Raiders of Morgan. A little bit of MVL representation on the show this week. We don't quite cover them. We sometimes get in. There's a big game in the MVL tonight between John Glenn and Philo. That's not on our list, but I'm keeping a close eye on that game, even though it's not quite in our coverage area. How about Rock Hill? We'll go to the OVC now. Rock Hill taking on Boyd County. Boyd County took down Gallia Academy last week.
Yeah.
Rock Hill got a big win as well. Battle of 1-0 squads.
I love a battle of a 1-0 squad in week 2.
The OVC and make some noise. I think Rock Hill can make some noise, and I think they'll start 2-0.
Yeah.
Give me Rock Hill as well. This is our first radio game of the afternoon over on WNXT 95.7. Fayetteville is taking on Lucasville Valley, who got that state win over team we're going to see here tonight. St. Valley Bearcats.
Yeah, and I think they build off of that one. I like Valley to win their home opener after a beautiful venue to play football in a week ago. They're playing football at home tonight. Give me Valley in this one.
Yeah, I think Valley rolls against Fayetteville comfortably in this matchup. Minford taking on Chesapeake. Both of these squads were in the convo a few months ago on the basketball court. Minford, of course, ended up winning region, their region in the basketball. They're looking to try and get back to it in football this year. Both of these squads lost their week 1 matchups. Who bounces back?
I think Minford bounces back until Chesapeake puts points on the board. I got to roll with the Mighty Falcons on the road even to get it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons as well. We talked about them a little bit in Waverly last week about what their coaching staff is trying to build. I think they'll get started with that in this week's matchup. Yeah. The big one over WZZZ. Archbishop McNichols taking on Wheelersburg. Battle of 1-0s. This game, even though it is week 2 and these squads won't see each other again because they're not in the same region, it has monster playoff implications for both squads.
Big time playoff implications. I like what
in August. Playoffs.
I do. I'm telling you, man, I think Wheelersburg has a chance, but McNicholas started out strong against Turpin. I will roll in favor of the Rockets tonight. They're playing good football early in the season.
I think so as well, and I think McNichols wins this one by 4 points. I think that Wheelersburg will get a field goal. I think it's going to be 24-21, something like that, or 28-24, yeah. I think other game that we didn't know was on the schedule until today. This was another part of that schedule reshuffle. Southeastern is 1-0. They're on the road this week at Portsmouth, Notre Dame.
Yeah, this one's a little tougher to pick than the first one, I think. I'm actually going to lean towards Portsmouth, Notre Dame in this game. Going to be a close game. Southeastern on the road, though. I'm going to lean towards the Titans.
Yeah, I'm going to lead towards the 1-0 Titans as well, as I think that they get the win over Southeastern, who, again, are trying to build something. We heard from their head coach, Tony Willoughby, last week.
Yes,
but I do think Portsmouth, Notre Dame gets it done. Couple of squads that need it, especially this first squad. Logan Elm is at Westfall tonight. Again, what do you really say for Logan Elm after what happened to them last week against Zane Trace? They need to bounce back in a big way, but the Mustangs of Westfall trying to go to 2-0.
Yeah, they are, and that's an SVC opponent or an SVC opponent in Westfall that I think's got a little bit of something to
of our SVC and. We'll do one more because there's one more SVC OVC matchup here before we head to our break.
Now Braves or Stangs?
Oh,
Braves or Stangs?
Jump in. I gotta go with the. I'm actually gonna flip the pick that I have written down here. I wrote down Logan Elm, but I always forget that. I went to Mineola High School, Mineola, New York, on Long Island, New York, and they were the Mineola Mustangs.
Okay.
So I will roll with Westfall. I think the Mustangs will get it done. Adena takes on Colgrove tonight. Both of these squads are 0-1. Both of these squads lost tight matchups. Neither of these squads scored more than 10 points last week. Adena were shut out by McLean.
Yeah, Adena was shut out by McLean. A much more respectable loss, in my opinion, however, was the Colgrove loss to Russell. I thought that they performed really, really well.
Defensively was good.
Defensively performed really well. So I actually, I think that Colgrove bounces back in this one. I think they get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with you as well. I think Colgrove will get the running game going a little bit more tonight, and they'll be able to get the victory over the Adenas, the Indians, right? The Adena Indians?
Warriors.
Warriors. Close enough. We're nearly there. We'll get to the FAC when we
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. And experience our commitment to excellence. The Slark's Automotive family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
Welcome back to Football Friday Kickoff. We continue to roll along with our picks, and we'll go to the FAC now, where Washington Courthouse is in Circleville.
Yeah, they are, and I actually think Circleville gets it done tonight in this game. Going to be a close contest, but they get it done at home.
Yep, I'm riding with the top.
I think Hillsborough builds off of this nice win over Western Brown. Give me the Indians at home.
Yeah, I think they beat them by 25 last year. I think they'll beat them by 14 this year. I think Hillsborough gets it done. Nice game over in the Cincy area between two 1-0 squads. Wilmington takes on Miami Trace.
Yeah, this is going to be a great football game. I actually think Miami Trace, like we heard the general say, it's the best team he's seen in the 5 years that these two teams have played each other, in Miami Trace and Waverly. I'm rolling with Trace.
That Trace squad is good. We're going to be keeping our eye on them all season long. They're going to be a bunch of dogs all season long, even though they're jungle cats. I think they get it done tonight against Wilmington. Let's go over to the TVC briefly. South Gallia takes on River Valley.
Yeah, and they're going to roll into River Valley and get it done in a big...
7 WMPO and Megs is at home tonight against Sims Valley.
They lost a heartbreaker just a week ago on Saturday. I think
get it done over the Marauders. Over on 92.1 WVYK, South Point is at Southern.
Yeah, they are, and I think Southern picks up its first win of the season. Give me the Tornadoes.
I actually think the Pointers. I think the size, we saw them last week, really stifle and pick up some big turnovers deep in territory for the Eastern Eagles. I think South Point gets done tonight in a low-scoring affair. High-scoring game, this one goes to Southern. Low-scoring, I think South Point gets it done. Big one between Waterford and Caldwell, two teams with bad blood, but Caldwell has beaten Waterford 20
over the Wildcats tonight, though.
Yeah, I've got Caldwell as well in a tight game. I think Waterford proved some people right today.
Not Indians.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry.
We've had a couple of those, the Native American names we've messed up today. Ohio tends to really like those names.
Yeah.
But
no.
The Caldwell gets it done against Waterford. Eastern takes on Wirt County out in West Virginia. They beat them 47-16 last year.
Yeah, I like Eastern to go on the road and get it done yet again. Jason Jackson, their
I think they'll be cleaner this week. I think that Jason Jackson, they won, but I don't think he would have been happy with that performance. Sure. I think that they'll be better this week. I think they'll take down Wirt County in a much more convincing performance. Over on Pure Rock 105, expect chaos, expect the unexpected in this game. Belpre takes on Federal Hawkins. We've already seen a big twist with Federal Hawkins quarterback out.
We have, and that's actually going to be enough for me to get me to flip things, Ethan. I was leaning towards the Lancers in this one. I'm going to roll with the Golden Eagles on the road. Not enough time
at the quarterback spot. He's going to run the ball a bunch. They're going to line up in probably a flex bone, wishbone, and I think that they can still establish their identity. So give me Federal Hawking. Over on THQ, the Point Pleasant the Black Knights get their season started against Fairland. Fairland's not happy coming to this one after that tough loss.
Yeah, tall task in week one for Point Pleasant. They haven't even done anything on the season yet, and they got some upset Dragons to deal with. Give me the Dragons at home.
Yeah, give me Fairland in this one as well. I think Point Pleasant just going to run into a team that's just too angry after a loss like that early in the year. VNU.
In a tough conference.
I think that McLean carries that momentum from last week. They got the momentum, the shutout over Adena. I think they get it done against Northwest in a tight affair by probably a 3 to 5 point victory. Unioto takes on Vinton County. I think this is the easiest pick of the night. I've got the Unioto Sherman Tanks.
Yeah, Unioto buy whatever they want. We love you over on WYRO. Shout out Vikings, but tough.
Yeah, I just think Unioto's going to have way too much on both sides of football. This game could have some real fireworks over on WCJO 97.7. Fairfield Christian Academy, who loves to sling the ball around, they'll take on an Oak Hill squad. Both these squads are 0-1. I'm expecting a lot of points in this game.
Yeah, it should be a lot of points, and unfortunately, Oak Hill just didn't defend the pass game quite well enough for me to go with them on the road tonight. Give me the Knights.
Yep, I'm going to stick with you there as well. I think they'll be able to get that pass game going, kind of like Wellston was able to do last week. I think Fairfield Christian Academy gets it done on the road against Oak Hill. Waverly is at Zane Trace with the General over on WXIC this year.
Zane Trace will get win number 2 this year. Too many yards on the offensive side of the ball in the ground game. The Pioneers.
The same issues that plagued Waverly last week, I think, are going to plague them this week because it's very similar to what Miami Trace does, is what Zane Trace is going to try to do. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to make things difficult for that defensive line of Waverly. I think the Pioneers will be able to get it done on the ground this evening. Alexander takes on Scioto Police. The Tartans taking on the Spartans. Can the Spartans get win number 1 on? Corey Bean gets win number 1 in his tenure as head coach of the Spartans. This one's on 2 stations, WYPC in Wellston, WZXQ in Piketon, 105.3 YPC, 100.1 ZXQ Wellston taking on Piketon. Who we got in this battle?
Piketon's going to outdo the Rockets tonight. Not enough firepower from Wellston.
Yeah, I like the Red Streaks to go 2-0 as well. WXIZ's got this one. The Beaver Eastern Eagles are back on the radio. They're taking on the Huntington Huntsmen.
It could be the night. It could be. Could see 22 come to an end, but I'm rolling with the Eastern Beaver.
I am also going with the Beaver Eastern Eagles. I am putting them on a tentative upset alert. They are absolutely
on watch.
This is a watch, but I do think Beaver Eastern gets it done tonight against Huntington. WNXT has the battle for Portsmouth between Portsmouth and Portsmouth West.
Portsmouth West, too much firepower on offense.
Yeah, Anthony Bishop. Anthony Bishop decides this game. I think he has over 150 yards on the ground, and I think Portsmouth West wins this one by a couple of scores, and I think Portsmouth West gets it done. Last couple games. This is the Saturday game over 107.1 WIRO. Liberty Christian Academy takes on Ironton.
What a great football game this is going to be. I love everything about the way Ironton schedules. Give me the Fighting Tigers in Virginia.
I love Ironton. I love that program. This is a great early season measuring stick for both of these schools as they get into their, when they get in, it's just too early in the year for Ironton. And I think Liberty Christian, in a tight game, very similar to that McNichols-Wheelersburg game, I think Liberty Christian Academy gets it done against the Fighting Tigers. Over on C103.7, Chillicothe looks to try and pull a major upset against London.
It would be exactly that, a major upset.
I think they'll try and limit what London could do on the offensive side of the football. Galley Academy taking on Jackson. This one is, of course, on the home of the Ironmen, WKOV 96.7, and the home of the Blue Devils, 99.5 WYBG, out in Gallipolis. Who we got in this one?
Rivalry's back, but you know which way I'm leaning. I'm going with the Ironmen until Galley Academy proves me otherwise.
Does this rivalry have a name? Do you know if it has a name, or is it just two teams that don't like each other?
I can't use the names that we call it on the air, Ethan. Nice try. You tried that last week, too.
That's
Can't
good.
do it.
That's good. I got Jackson in this one as well. I think that the Ironmen will be able to get it done against Galley Academy. Two more quick games before we save our game of the week for the last break. Trimble takes on Bern Union.
Give me Trimble. You know what? Why not? I know that they're going to have their work cut out for them, but they're at home and they play different in Gloucester. I'll take Trimble for whatever reason.
I got the Tomcats, too. I think they get it done against the Bern Union squad that's still a little young. They're still a little raw. And I think Trimble's experience really just on the line. And Paul Sharp, I think, will get things going on their ground game. I think they'll get it done in that one. And then NY takes on Logan. Can they get a little revenge from last year?
I think they do. I think they need it, and I think they want it. The Buckeyes by 14.
I think they're going to come into this game angry. I don't think they were very satisfied with how they played in the first half of that game against Trimble. I think they'll come out a little noon o'clock. Big game. Yes, Buckeyes taking on the Longhorns of Texas up in Columbus. We're going to talk about the Bulldogs when we come back. The Georgia Bulldogs are taking on the Marshall Thundering Herd tomorrow. Yeah. The Athens Bulldogs are taking on the Paint Valley Bearcats. Cincinnati Bearcats lost a tough one to football. Friday kickoff.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dan Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
We're about to be back on. Back to Football Friday kickoff, where we are rolling. Real quick before we get to our preview for this game,
Buckeyes, they put it up.
horns are down.
Going
Go
down
Bucks.
hard. You saw it here.
But who we thinking in this matchup? Bearcats Bulldogs. Can the Athens Bulldogs get it done?
Their goal
Side. I think they hold Paint Valley to under 7 points. That'll do it for this edition of Football Friday Kickoff. Again, apologies for some of the tech issues we had earlier, but thankfully we were able to get the show rolling. We were able to get a great last hour of the show into the program. We'll send you out to your games now. We hope you enjoy. Don't miss us later. We'll be on Football Friday.